Guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our series on making accessible apps for Apple platforms. And in this particular video we're going to be taking a look at how we can group accessibility elements in our apps. Now, one thing to note is that we're going to be focusing primarily on SwiftUI here because there is no AppKit or UIKit equivalent to the modifier in SwiftUI we're going to take a look at. All the work that this modifier does for you, you have to do manually in UIKit and AppKit. So keep that in mind as we move forward. All right. Now, the modifier that we're going to take a look at is a modifier we've seen before, but we haven't dug too deeply into it, and that is the accessibility element modifier. This can either be left empty or given a single parameter, and that parameter is children. Now, this parameter is of type accessibility child behavior. And there are three different options that you can use: combine, ignore, or contain. Now, combine is its default behavior, where it takes all the accessibility children and their properties and combines them into one cohesive accessibility element. Whereas the contain behavior does exactly what it sounds like. It combines them into a single accessibility element, but you can still navigate the children independently. So on macOS, for example, you will get all the accessibility children interpreted as a single element, but you can interact with that and then be able to navigate all of its children independently, as if it was a group, so to speak. And then ignore does exactly what you might expect it to based on its name. It goes and ignores all of the accessibility children. So you won't hear any information, whether it be a label, a value, or something like that, or any of the content of an accessibility child, if ignore is set as the child behavior. So how exactly then do we use this particular version of the modifier? Well, let's go ahead and go into Xcode and we'll take a look at what each of these does. So for simplicity, I have commented out this collection view cells accessibility label, so we can more simply work with this and understand exactly what we're doing. All right. So above our accessibility label, we are going to go ahead and say dot accessibility element. There we go. And right now, as it is, with opening and closing parenthesis, no parameters passed, the default behavior is set to combine. So if we save this and we run it, all right. When we go into our collection view and we focus on each of our cells here, right now we can't hear anything at all. So let's go back into Xcode and see what we might have done here. Maybe VoiceOver is just being uncooperative. So let's say children dot children dot combine. There we go. Save that, run it. All right. So now, there we go. So we get all of the information, but we try to interact with this cell. We can't interact with each individual accessibility element individually because with combine, they're no longer just independent elements. They're all one big element. That is different if instead of combine, we say contain. We can save this and run it. When we go to our collection view here, we go into collection, and particularly on macOS, if we go from cell to cell, we do get all the information and it gets treated as a single element. However, at the end of its announcement, we hear group. That tells us, hey, we can interact with this. So if we go and interact with it, we're in group now. And we can go through each element one by one. So that is useful in some cases, in others maybe not so much. It really depends on your needs, what your specifications are for your application. But if we say ignore, we can save that and run that. All right. Go into the grid here. Collection. Now, I'm going from element to element, but I don't hear anything. All I hear is the sound of the voiceover cursor going from item to item. And that's because all of the children of these accessibility elements are being ignored. So it doesn't announce anything because it doesn't have any label associated with this element. But if I uncomment our accessibility label and we run this again, we get our movies grid, go into the collection, and now, going from element to element, we get the information read in accordance with our accessibility label. So combine or ignore works really well in the case of a collection view cell or a list cell or anything like that. But contain does have its use cases as well. It just really depends on, again, the specifications of your application. So that pretty much does it for the accessibility element modifier and taking a look at the different accessibility children behavior that you can specify in SwiftUI. Again, keep in mind that there is no UIKit or AppKit alternative for this. You have to do all of that work manually, which isn't hard. It's just tedious and it does take a little bit longer. But your users will thank you in the long run for that. So thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.